Yo, bro, how's it going?
Yo, good. How are you?
I'm awesome. Hold on just a second.
You're echoing.
I got it fixed now. Dang, dude, don't be all yelling at me. All right, guys. So welcome to Sunday service. We haven't done Sunday service in a couple of weeks. Hold on a second. I'm in. Can you tell in my Airstream right now? Can you hear the dogs barking in the
Yeah.
trailer park I'm hanging out in?
Yeah, you're a little laggy.
Okay. So I'm pretty laggy. So Cody, I'm going to let you run things for the most part just because of my lag. You okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull up, let me do a little bit of intro, and then we're going to introduce Tristan to the audience, and then Tristan and you are going to work on pulling a list specific to finding a subject to deal in Arizona. So a lot of people have questions about, everybody has questions about how to find subject to deals. We are going to answer that today. We're going to pull a couple of lists that are specific to subject to. So give me just a second, and I'm going to invite
Mr. Tristan
to the table. Cody, will you do me a favor and tell everybody what tool we're going to use today and what kind of list you suggest pulling, and maybe we can answer a couple questions while we wait for Tristan to get into the studio.
Yes, sir. Guys, so we are going to, for Tristan, we're going to be pulling a couple different data points. So we're going to use PropStream to pull some failed listings, so expired or canceled listings. And we're going to do low equity as well. So why are we pulling low equity? Why are we pulling failed listings for subject to deals? The reason we're doing this is most of the time when somebody doesn't have a lot of equity, they have to go and they're listing their property with an agent. They list it for more than they could actually get for market value. I understood this from when I worked as an agent. A lot of times, if retail value is $250,000 for the home, but the homeowner maybe just bought it last year for $245,000, they're going to be paying almost 7% or more in fees when they go to sell their property. So what does the homeowner say? Let's try for 260. Let's try for 265. They go on the market. It doesn't sell because it's overpriced. Homeowner thinks that there's no other way to actually get the house sold, which is where subject to actually is a great solution for those homeowners. So what you can do is buy those properties subject to the existing mortgage, of course, and be able to solve that seller's problem because they don't have any equity anyways. This is actually how we bought a property. This was back in like December, Paiute Trail, a property we bought for just closing costs. We literally no cash to the seller because they bought the house 6 months prior, got a job transfer, and then they tried to list the house, wasn't selling because they were trying to sell it for over. They just didn't want to have to write a check to get out of the house. So for us, we were able to just take over that property. So that's why we're going to be able to, that's why we're going to pull up the expireds and the low equity because we have a solution for that. Tristan gets a house.
Operation Tristan gets a house.
Everybody gets a new house.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I hear you good.
Awesome. So, guys, just so you know, Tristan is a friend of ours in Phoenix, Arizona. He is trying to move his family down to Chandler, but due to the way he's compensated for the job, he wants to and needs to buy the property subject to. So what we are doing as a community is we are gathering and we're in Chandler, Arizona, so that we as a group can call on that list and try and help Tristan get a subject to. Now, the majority of them get access to this list in SubTo mentors because they know how to run these types of leads, how to types of sellers. Also have backup these like mentorships, students, leads, and work their leads for them. So I'm going to jump out for just a second and try and get Tristan in here. So give me a minute, okay?
Perfect. Awesome. So Let's go ahead, guys. Let's see here. So we're going to be pulling a list from PropStream. We're going to skip trace that list using batch leads, and get that list over to all the SubTo students. I know Pace's connection was breaking up a little bit. He's working on getting Tristan on the line, and then we'll go ahead and get this list pulled. So for those of you that are just hopping on, what we're doing today is we're going to be pulling a couple lists. The first one is going to be a subject to list here in Arizona. We're trying to help Tristan actually get a house for his family to move into. The cool thing is that, we're living proof of using this strategy to buy a home for ourselves, right? So Pace actually is living in a house he bought subject to last year. I'm living in a house that we bought subject to at the beginning of this year. Our door knocking manager, Matt, he actually just bought a house about 6 months ago subject to. And so the story on the one that he got, so just some ideas for you guys is expired listings with low equity. Those are great opportunities for subject to purchases. The other ones are the for sale by owners with low equity. And the reason why, so I think there's three types of people that are for sale by owners. There's people, number one, that are crazy, and you don't want to mess with those people. The second type of person that's a for sale by owner are homeowners that really truly do want to sell their property, but they don't have enough equity to pay an agent with to get that property sold. And then the third type of person is somebody that's testing the waters and eventually wants to get it sold, probably on the open market on the MLS. Yo, Tristan, what up? And then the third type of person is somebody that's testing the waters and eventually wants to get it sold, probably on the open market on the MLS. Yo, Tristan, what up?
Hey guys, how you doing?
And then
Can
the
you hear
third
me
type
okay?
of person is somebody that's testing the waters and eventually wants to get it sold, probably on the open market on the MLS. Yo, Tristan, what up?
Hey guys, how are you?
And then the third type of person
Let me just switch to here.
Get it sold, probably on the open market on the MLS. Yo, Tristan, what up?
Hey guys, how are you?
I don't know if you're seeing that too, Pace. There's like a crazy echo. It's like playing like three times over the same thing. James, is there a filter on MLS for low equity? No. That's where we actually are using PropStream to pull the.
I'll just try my phone instead.
Okay. That's actually, we're using PropStream to pull that. Sorry for the echoing, guys. We're getting that sorted out. But we use PropStream, guys, to actually pull the expired and canceled listings. And then we sort it. We're going to show you guys that today, how to actually do that.
Okay. Right. So.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you good now.
Sorry. What happens is when guests come into the studio, they have the show playing and they're in the studio. Yeah. And so it's reverberating between both. So let's jump into some questions here.
So, okay, PropStream, how up to date is PropStream on pre-foreclosures? As far as my understanding, is PropStream is typically updating their pre-foreclosures weekly. We use Batch for our pre-foreclosure data. They are actually updating their data on a daily basis. Monday through Friday, Batch is updating their pre-foreclosure data. So we use different things from PropStream and then different lists for from Batch specifically. Let's see here. I have pulled expired listings from the MLS, but not seeing good results so far. 1,000 records. So I would do, if you're pulling from the MLS, I would pull expireds, and then I would pull the canceled listings. And then you're also got to understand like the way that you're approaching these people as well. Like, so that's a big thing that Pace teaches on, is like how to actually approach these types of sellers and actually being able to get the get the seller to understand, how you're trying to actually buy the property. So that's a big part of that as well.
So
No, I know the answer to this one. So James Basic is a super smart guy, very, very smart guy. James, the way I would text expired listings is this. Hey, so-and-so seller, is there something you were looking for? Say, I noticed your house is no longer listed. Was there something you were looking for that you were not able to get on the open market? That's the text. Hey, so-and-so seller, I noticed you pulled your house off the MLS. Is there something you were looking for you did not get on the open market? That will change. That these people are not motivated sellers in the same sense as like a probate, foreclosure, whatever. They were full retail sellers, and then they got basically kicked in the teeth on the MLS. So you coming back and opening that wound is the best way to open up that conversation. Check this out.
Oh,
Oscar, shout out to Oscar. He's also one of Cody and my private lenders on our fix and flips. Really, really good guy. Looks like Keith Jackson really likes the response to the MLS stuff. Dude, guys, look how dope my wife is. Look at her wallet. That's a dope wife right there. All right, Tristan, I know you can hear me because I can see you in the studio. Can you nod your head yes if you only have one feed open right now? Okay. Let's go. Tristan, my man, what's cracking?
can't hear. He's muted. Hang on. You're unmuted now.
You can hear me now?
Yep, we hear you.
Hello.
Yo.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys. Yeah, sorry, I was just on trying to get the Bluetooth to work, but it wasn't happening on the computer. So, well, I appreciate you guys. This is awesome. So, yeah, the situation is my ex-wife and I separately are looking to move to Chandler. She's on a very low income, and I've been struggling to find firstly a rental, and then once I joined your course to find a SubTo that would be much closer to, the $1,000 a month budget that she's got, which is pretty tight in that area.
Mm-hmm.
So my focus has been finding her a place to live where I can not necessarily positively cash flow, but at least break even and get the tax benefits of ownership, and then find myself a place to move over following her, because she just needs to be stable and the girls need to be in that school area. I'm happy driving from Central Phoenix there every day for a few months if we need to, but she's not able to do that with her job. So I'm just trying to get her settled down there and then find another property for myself and then rent this house out as an Airbnb.
Got it. So she needs to be at 1,000 a month or at max?
Yep. So I found some properties that some were listed, some weren't listed, but the down payments weren't workable for them. I was talking them, they were talking about 50, 60,000 down. I obviously wasn't in the market to be able to do that. I did look at the figures. I could have worked it, but they weren't willing to lower it down to sort of a $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 down payment. Plus with realtors involved, that doesn't make your life any easier getting going on those types of deals. So
yeah, for sure.
Just getting close to the start of the school season, it's just getting a little bit more frustrating. So I really appreciate you guys.
For sure. So she has to be in Chandler, or she open to some other areas too?
Being willing to help. I'm not able to hear you at the moment, Cody.
You can't hear me right now?
Can't hear anything from you at the moment, Cody. Can you hear me?
I hear you. I don't know why. Can anyone listening on the stream hear me right now?
It's all silent from... I'm not able to hear anything.
I would... Here.
These are my two girls and the dog.
Tristan, you must have something with your
I don't know if
audio.
you can hear me, but I can't hear anything from you guys.
Your Bluetooth probably isn't connected.
I seem to be having audio issues from your end.
No, everyone can hear me. I would take off your headset.
Something's wrong with me then.
Take those off, and then.
All right, I will go back to the phone.
Can you hear me when you're on just your phone?
I guess I'll reconnect.
I can hear you good.
I'll jump out and jump back in.
Cool. So, all good. So, from Pace, expired listings. Hey, seller, noticed that you pulled your house off the MLS. Is there something you were looking for that you weren't able to find on the open market? That is the text. Guys, screenshot that. Just this message in itself is going to help you guys get more deals. So, what I would do while we're waiting for Tristan to get back on, screenshot this message. Save this as a message that you could send to potential homeowners, right? So, Benjamin, thank you for capturing that and sharing that with everybody on that may have just hopped on. Awesome, guys. And if the Sunday service is bringing value to you guys, please let us know. Pace and I take time away from our families on Sundays to be able to do this and bring value to everybody on. So if you are getting value, please join our community, the creative financing with Pace Morby, and also share on your Instagrams. Let's see. Take a couple questions while we wait. Tristan, there you are.
I can hear you now. I don't know what happened.
Good, awesome. No worries. Okay, so let's look at a criteria of something that we can pull from PropStream. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen here in just a moment with everybody, and then let's see what we can put together. For those of you that haven't ever used PropStream before, I just posted below a link to get 2 weeks of PropStream for free. It's what we use to comp our out-of-state deals, and then also to be able to pull lists like the canceled listing. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Pull this up. Whoop. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, cool. All right, so let's go ahead and do some filtering here. So we're going to go to failed listings. This is going to be all those properties that came off the market without selling. Obviously, we don't really want ones that are still on the market or that went back on the market. We want the ones that came off and haven't went back on. And let's do this. Where are we at here? No, we want to do, okay, here we go. So estimated equity, I would do 1% to 15% equity. Just for people that, obviously these are people that are going to have a hard time selling on the MLS typically.
Yeah.
Let's see. Ownership info, individuals. So we're pulling just individuals that are the homeowners, not, LLCs that are owners on these. I think that is all the criteria that we're going to do on here. Decide residential. Close that. Whoops. And then let's search Chandler, right?
Chandler, yeah.
Okay, let's see. So we're probably going to need to filter as far as the price point for the home that you want to be in. What do you want your monthly to be around for like your personal home? Obviously, I understand your wife's around $1,000 a month, but what about for yourself?
Yeah, probably between 1,500 and 1,800 ideally. Hopefully less.
So probably we'd want to do home values under 300,000 as far as around what that payment would look like.
Right.
There we go. Okay.
Because I was looking, the way I was calculating these and underwriting the ones that I did look at, I was thinking with a 30-year term, 100% finance, which is different than the search we're doing. $1,000 a month would be good just for the mortgage rate, plus tax, insurance, and hopefully getting no interest from a 0% financing. But SubTo, yeah, we'll have to calculate in whatever interest rate they have currently in their term.
For sure.
Equity.
So from the time when I used to work as a realtor, interest rates varied for a while from in the 3s up to around 5% for certain clients. And what I noticed when I would be reviewing the documents, I was typically seeing properties up to about 300,000. Payments were up to around 1,800, 1,900 a month. And then, obviously around 200,000, you're closer to that 1,100 to 1,300 a month or so. And then under 200,000, obviously you're even less. So just depending on the situation. So within this criteria, we have 13 properties, but do we need a certain amount of bedrooms? I don't even know if we could do that on here. Let me see. Yeah, we can.
Maricopa doesn't do bedrooms generally. Sometimes they're listed with PropStream, but I know with Batch in Arizona, that has caused issues when you search for bedroom counts.
Okay, so it looks like there's seven properties available here. So that would be probably pretty easy to call through these. Would you guys consider, just to add more options to your list, would you guys consider doing like Gilbert, like this area of Gilbert, or any areas?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I was looking at West Gilbert, kind of around, there was property I was trying to negotiate a couple of weeks ago around the islands, but it's a little bit more expensive there, but that was 100% equity, so different end of the scale.
Let's call this, okay, we'll call it Tristan search. So we got these 7 here, and then then we'll go over to Gilbert. You wouldn't want to be down in these areas, right? Like more like this area.
That'll be a bit too far away. The school that they're hopefully going to go to is Chandler High, so it's kind of central Chandler. I don't mind driving a bit of distance, but just their mother's not able to. She was hoping to use the sort of school bus to get them to school and back.
Okay, so let's just grab these guys here. So that's going to be a little bit closer. Okay, so for everybody watching, this is what's great about PropStream is you're able to really narrow down on the different areas that you're trying to pull a list from. So obviously, depending on if you have a budget or you don't have a budget, it's going to really, hinder your abilities to pull bigger lists. So what you can do is, you can pull a list in a more of a niche area. So say if there's a certain part of town that you really want to try to get a deal in, or it's a hot area of town, you could actually go on PropStream and pull a small list like this. So pulled in a Mace one there. You can pull a small list like this, and really like the first, just in Chandler, there's like 7 properties. Now we have an additional 7. I took this one off because we actually only grabbed a Mesa one there. So we can add these additional 8 or additional 7 here to our list. So we're going to add this to our Tristan home search. And then, so basically just in, Gilbert and Chandler, or Tempe, okay, too, you said? Possibly.
For me, I could possibly do that. Yeah, Chandler and Gilbert just are on the higher end of, floor plan and bedroom counts for that price, for sure.
Let's see what come up here, because some of these will get into the southern area. So there's not too many here. Let's see this one. So this one looks like it's a little bit closer here on, was that Palm? Whoops. Ah. These aren't too close. I think probably, I mean, realistically, the ones that I just pulled, those, these 14 are probably going to be the best fits for you. It sounds like.
Yeah, agreed.
This Mesa one probably needs to get off here. Okay, so it looks like we have 13 properties here. So go ahead.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we hear
I
you.
can hear you.
We're pulling way too small of a list. So pull this 13-person list for Tristan, and then we need to pull a much larger list because I'm going to give this list the SubTo mentorship. I want to pull a larger list for that specific area so we can have like 30, 40 people calling on it. So pull like 1,000-person list after you pull this very, very small niche list. Let's go and find a larger list and cast a wider net.
Okay, we'll do East Valley failed listings. That's what we'll pull next instead, because this is really niched down. So we'll do that. So as far as on PropStream, guys, this is one of the things that I like about PropStream is you have this little toggle chart up here, so you can get an idea. Like one of these properties is vacant. So would that probably be somebody that's pretty motivated? I would say so. It's vacant. They don't have a lot of equity. So they already failed to sell their property on the open market. So that's probably somebody that you'd want to reach out to right away.
Yeah.
So let's do a wider net. We're going to do East Valley. So we're going to do multiple areas. I'm just going to run through this again. For those of you that are hopping on, we're pulling an East Valley of Arizona list of properties to attempt to get a subject to property under contract. So I'm just going to cruise through some of the criteria that I want to make sure selected here. 300,000. And then I'm going to go back through older failed listings. So I'm going to go back to the beginning of 2019. I actually had a lot of success when I was working as a realtor, reaching out to homeowners that, had tried to list their property 6 months, a year ago, that they couldn't sell it. And then they just kind of get discouraged and they don't try to continue selling it. So then you're able to reach back out to them, months later, even up to a year, 2 years later, and restart that conversation and, give them hope that, hey, like the property values have went up as far as on an agent side, or obviously when we're looking at buying a property subject to, you can be looking at, the conversation is like, hey, like what Pace was saying, obviously you weren't able to, or what were you looking to accomplish that you weren't able to on the open market, that type of conversation. Yeah.
I'd wondered whether just going for complete seller finance might be a better opportunity. I'd done a couple of lists a few weeks ago, or a couple of weeks ago, and tried to stack those a little bit. I had a bit more luck last weekend, but just trying to keep payments down, of trying to get 0% or very low interest rate.
Yeah. Yeah, that would definitely, you could definitely niche it down
a lot more.
Yeah, so let's create two separate categories here. So we'll pull some failed listings, and then we're going to go back and we're going to put another list together. So let's see how many results that we have when we use this criteria. So we only have 12 over the last year. So home search part 2. What we're going to do is we're going to pull some of the expireds, and then we're also going to go back and then we'll pull some of the 100% equity properties as well. So we can just try to cast a wider net, and like you're saying, try to find something that you can get 0% terms on as well.
Fabulous.
All right, so let's go ahead and change up our filters here. So I'm trying to think of something that can be a little bit more niche, but still have some good opportunities. So we're going to have 100% equity. Let's see what we can pull up here. Failed listing. And actually, Just refresh our search. Is Pace still on?
Yes,
I
I'm
can't
still
see.
on.
Okay.
There is just.
I don't know if you want to answer some questions on the stream while I'm polling. I'm creating a new search.
I've been typing everybody's answer. Literally, I've been typing the whole time.
Oh, dope.
I don't see one question I haven't answered in the live stream on the side.
Dope. All right. Okay, so we're going to pull a vacant list, and then we're going to do 100% equity. So, meaning it's free and clear. And then we're going to do regular homeowners, 300,000 and below. All right, let's see what we can pull up with this list. So this is definitely a lot bigger. So we have 207 properties on here for Chandler. So let's go ahead and add this. Okay, and then we'll go to Gilbert as well. So for those of you guys that are just hopping on, we're pulling lists in Chandler and Gilbert, Arizona, of properties that are vacant and that are owned free and clear, meaning there's no mortgage on these properties, so that we could reach out to those people and potentially see if they would be willing to sell the property on an owner carry, where we give them a little to no money down and are able to negotiate either a 0% or very low interest rate for the seller to carry the mortgage on the property. So, okay. Okay, so we have there's just a little under like 400 properties that we have between just Chandler and Gilbert, which is the areas that Tristan wants to be in.
Okay, Tristan, do you feel like that's enough? Because you got the whole power of the universe at your fingertips, and all you want to do is, are we just here's my really rude question: are you being too picky?
I'm just primarily concerned about my ex-wife getting there. First of all, I can take more time to get myself there. So, just with her situation with driving, I'm just trying to focus on her getting a place in the area she needs to be.
I feel like you're gonna hammer, or somebody can hammer through this list in 14 minutes.
Yeah, that's the biggest challenge.
It's too small. I mean, this is, if you're looking for a house in these areas, this is a good list to start with. But when you have all these people with all this power of calling, texting, ringless voicemail of all the people that are going to help you in the mentorship, 400 houses is all you're going to pull is not enough.
Yep.
I think we pull these couple lists, and then we pull a larger list. So Cody, why don't we pull a high equity list in this area with the same parameters and see if we can get a 2,000 or 3,000 person list?
Okay.
It doesn't need to be seller finance specific. It just needs to be a list that we can potentially drive up some. Let's see. Also, Tristan, you do realize that $150,000 purchase price is basically the max you're going to be looking for. So you're kind of looking for a unicorn. It's kind of like you're looking for $150,000 purchase price in the hottest metro area in the United States, where the average purchase price in the areas you're looking for is $325,000.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so we probably need to widen our horizons, not so much city wise, but maybe equity wise and some other parameters to open it up.
Yeah.
So Cody, what we need to do is we need to change the parameters to something more broad in those areas. So stay in that same geographical area, but let's try and pull a larger list, because you're going to have literally 100 people calling on your behalf, Tristan.
Yeah, I appreciate and understand that.
Okay, we'll look at see, 80% to 95% equity. We'll add in definitely. So we got another 423. Let me do this. So that's just in Gilbert. So we'll add these 423 here. Let's do this.
Nelson Jefferson asked, Pace, what is a decent sized list for about a week of cold calling? Cody, how many records does one cold caller go through at vahub.com?
I mean, I would suggest on a monthly basis not to have any less than 5,000 to 6,000 records a month for one cold caller, because what you're going to do is you're going to recycle that phone list multiple times throughout the month, but you want to have enough data there that there's enough for them to call, because on a daily basis, and about if you have somebody calling 30 hours a week, every day, that cold caller is going to call anywhere from 600 to 800 records a day if they're calling 5-6 hours a day. If they're calling 8 hours a day, they're going to be calling, based on conversations, anywhere between 800 and 1,000 dials a day. So in a week, they'll dial through most of those records. Obviously, not everybody's going to answer the phone. So what you're going to want to do is then recycle those campaigns or the phone list based on the people that did not answer the phone, and try to get those back in there for your cold caller to get back on the phone. So you want to have about 5,000 records minimum, ideally 7,500 records a month per cold caller, but you can get away with having 5,000. Obviously, you're going to get more leads and higher quality leads when you have a little bit more than just trying to skimp by with this very small list.
Mashika Johnson asked, when would you recall the list? I think she's not using the word recall properly in this context. She's probably saying, when would you recycle the list and reuse it? How often are you recycling the list?
Every day. Well, I mean, we are every day because we're calling niche lists. So when we're calling these lists, we're literally calling them over and over and over and over and over again. So the thing you have to understand is, say if you have 1,000 people that you call through all 1,000 of those records. Out of those 1,000 you call, you might have only actually got on the phone with maybe 100 of them. Maybe it's more like 80. But say you called 1,000 people, 80 answered. Would you just throw away the other, 900 records if you had 100 of those answer? No, you want to recycle that phone list and put it right back in. So as soon as they're done with it, you want to call through that again, because you're not going to be bothering people, because you have to understand, of those 900 that didn't answer, you might have called them when they were at work. They might have been at a family function. They might have just had the phone in the other room. They couldn't get to it. They could have been on the other line. So you want to be dialing through and calling that list over and over and over and over again. And as you're working through that list, you're going to be removing people that want to be on the DNC list. You're going to be removing people from it as you add leads to your Podio, and you're going to be removing people through it as you find people that are never going to sell their property, or that may be listed with an agent, or whatever that situation is. So that's the long answer to the short question. See here. So I did get another. So we have now a little over 2,000 records. Pace.
That's the right amount.
It opened it up a bit, and all these people have 80% plus equity. So you could probably get a situation on an owner carry on some of these, or a hybrid where you take over their or the rest of their debt, and then down payment, or however you want to structure it.
Yeah.
Let's see that part.
Is how many years of ownership are you looking for? Are you filtering by that?
Nope, because this is a different list. Like the average person moves every 7 years. That's like the realtor data that I learned as an agent. So that's typically what it's going to look like. But with this specific list, I just pulled people that had a certain amount of equity.
Yeah.
This is, again, one of the features for those of you that haven't seen this before on PropStream. We're going to remove, whoops, didn't mean to export that. We're going to remove the people that had just sold the property, because obviously if they just sold it, they're not going to sell it. So we'll clean that up. Awesome.
And let me answer a couple questions because we got a flood of good questions in here.
Okay.
Okay, so Caroline Kane says, do you door knock, text, and cold call the same person? Cody, would you go down to your laptop, go to option, hold option down, and then click on those three buttons in the upper right-hand corner of your laptop?
Oh, it's probably a good idea.
It's like blowing up the speakers. So Caroline Kane, absolutely. We door knock, text, cold call, everything to the same exact list. Why? Why would we do that, Cody?
Because people respond to different marketing messages differently. The 80-year-old grandma that you text isn't going to receive a text because it's probably not, or texting, and they're probably going to answer their phone when you cold call them. And then vice versa. You look at somebody that may be in their 20s, 30s, or 40s. If you text them, they're more inclined to answer than if you try to cold call them. Like if a number even calls me and it's not a number in my phone book, I won't even answer it ever. So like you have to look at the demographics. And then also door knocking, you're going to reach people that won't answer the phone or won't answer their text. And most likely, if some of these people that may be in pre-foreclosure, if they aren't making their house payment, what are the odds they aren't making their phone bill payment? Probably high. So if they aren't able to even receive a text or receive a call, you have a good chance to be one of the only people reaching them when you go to their door and actually knock on their door. So the best answer is all of them. You want to text everybody, you want to call everybody, you want to door knock, obviously everybody that you can, because you're going to have the highest odds chance of being able to reach those people.
I think one of the most interesting things is once you actually start doing a lot of deals, you realize that every seller is talking to at least 15 to 20 other investors. And those 15 or 20 investors are calling, texting them, door knocking them, and everything else. But you're sitting there over there trying to be all polite and not trying to bother the seller. That's where that conversation comes from, is you're being conscious of, I don't want to overwhelm the seller. Well, that seller is not going to reply to your direct mail because they only would reply to texting. And that the next one is not going to reply to texting because the next one that they might only reply to cold calling. You have to use all marketing methods as long as your budget permits. Always, 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 always. Don't ever think you're going to overwhelm the seller. I promise you. Mashika Johnson says, that's me. And the reason why is because you haven't, no offense, this is real talk here, guys. This is absolute real talk, okay? So I'm not going to be soft on you. The reason why you're going through that is because you have not gotten to a certain point in this business where you realize that stuff is not important. The stuff that's not important is overthinking how frequently I'm reaching out to the sellers. The guys and gals that are getting a lot of deals in this business are constantly and consistently, persistently reaching out to sellers in any method, way, or means possible. Okay? Pace. Yeah, I'd like to see the scripts for pre-foreclosure. Caroline Kane, just go to YouTube and type in pre-foreclosure mastery, and you'll see a video that Brent Daniels and I did back in January all about pre-foreclosure lists and the scripting, okay?
That is really good.
Yeah, it's a really good video. Lawrence Swartz, do you guys stack your list? Yes. This is one of the reasons why we use batch leads, not the other trash services that are out there. Batch leads gives you the ability to stack your lists inside of batch leads, use a litigator scrub inside of batch leads. It all comes complimentary as part of the service. So yes, every single list that we use is 100% stacked and scrubbed through the DNC and litigator scrub list. Tristan.
As we're going through these questions, Pace, I'm going to just be sharing my screen, going through the process of tracing that list.
Yeah, go through it. Okay. Mike Sluha says, what happens if you can't reach a person due to bad numbers? That means you are getting bad data. So if you, hold on a second. What happens if you can't reach a person due to bad numbers? Do you then direct mail? We typically will have our door knocking team go knock on the door if we know it's a lead. But if you're just not getting a hold of somebody, you probably are not getting a really good skip tracing service. So Mike, the first question you should ask is, are you getting good data and where are you buying your data from? Okay. Wade Haldeman, I have a property under contract at $133,000, ARV 320. Sounds like an awesome deal. After an $80,000 renovation, so you'd be 210. All right, it's a really good spread, about $100,000 spread. There's a guy here who wants to partner up, but does not have purchase all in cash. Can I keep the property title in my LLC name while with him getting a loan on it? No. Whoever is going to give the loan to that guy is going to want to have that guy to have control and ownership of that property. I've not seen it the other way. Maybe that guy can find a private lender that doesn't know the difference. So Jeffrey Maluai says, so use PropStream to pull the list and batch leads for skip tracing. We actually use batch leads to pull most of our lists and batch leads to do our skip tracing. So if you guys use batchleads.io/pace, you'll get 500 free text messages to try out the services. It's an amazing service. They're doing list pulling, skip tracing, list stacking, litigation scrub, DNC scrub, and in about 2 to 4 weeks, they're going to have a robocaller, all in the one platform. So we're consolidating all of our services. We're trying to get rid of all the services and go into batch because they're so customer service oriented. So most of our lists we're pulling are on batch. Okay. So why have PropStream? Because PropStream allows us, we invest nationwide. In fact, we just got a SubTo in Orlando. We got a wholesale deal in Orlando the other day, but we don't have access to the MLS in Orlando like we do have access to the MLS in Arizona. So we use PropStream in Florida and Atlanta, where there are other places that we're doing deals, so that we can have as good of data as possible when we're comping a property. PropStream is good for you if you're investing in multiple states, but if you're only investing in one state, just get access to MLS by partnering up with somebody, and then use batch to pull your lists and texting and all that kind of stuff. How accurate is PropStream data? Is it less accurate when apartments are involved? Yes. PropStream, the number one complaint with PropStream is the data is inaccurate. That's the number one thing that we hear about PropStream constantly. Alex Peranzi, but what if you have good data, but all numbers available for the seller are bad? Well, that means you have bad data.
Yeah, I mean, the
right?
thing
The
is,
data,
like, no matter what, when you're skip tracing, you're not always going to get 100% hit rate. Like sometimes you just don't get you're not going to get all of the data for every single person. So that's one thing to understand. And then you also can look at it in two ways. If you cannot, even after using good data providers, if you can't get access to their information, that's probably a good person to go door knock or to send a mail piece to, because if you can't reach them with good data, that means other investors probably can't reach them with good data. So that's probably a good person to mail to or door knock, because no one else is able to get a hold of them. Let's see here. All right.
So James Basic asks a question, Cody. How can you track if you are using a good provider for skip tracing?
I mean, you want to look at your hit rate when you're skip tracing your list. So I'll share my screen again. This is exactly how you can track.
So Lauren said, yeah, I can see your screen. Laurel, hold on. Laurel says, okay, clear. I don't need PropStream. You don't need PropStream if you're investing only in your local town. What do you need PropStream for? First and foremost, Laurel, you are a real estate agent. I know that for sure. You do fix and flips. What do you need access to PropStream for? You have access to the MLS here in Arizona.
Yep.
The batch leads can pull a list for you. Batch leads can text for you. Look, I like PropStream. We really appreciate PropStream, but I don't want you guys spending money on things you don't need.
Yep.
Do I need call tools? Laurel, do you cold call? If you're cold calling yourself, then yes, you need a calling mechanism or a calling tool. We use call tools, but the second call or batch dialer comes out, we're switching over to batch dialer. That's just in the next couple of weeks. Cody, let me clear out a couple of these questions real quick.
All right.
How do you advise finding someone if you tried multiple skip traces? Why are you guys just trying to find one seller? What is so amazing about this house that you
Stop
absolutely
having one-itis. Who cares? Move on.
have one-itis? Like, if there's one seller, this is like a very, very newbie question, which I totally get, but you're trying to find one seller's information. Tell me why that is. Did somebody tell you that that seller absolutely is waiting for a contract from you, and unless you get that one seller's phone number, you're never going to get a contract? What is the reason why you absolutely have to have every individual seller's phone number? You're not going to hit every single seller. So Israel, I would love to hear why it's so important to get that one seller's information. Okay, Joshua Cahill, why hit rate and not accuracy? Hit rate means nothing if it's a bad number.
100%. So you have to kind of like, I look at it as like the hit rate on the percentage of the data that's actually coming back that I'm actually skip tracing. The other thing I like about batch is you're only getting charged for the actual data that's been hit. So if you skip trace 500 records and it only comes back with, say, 439, you're only getting charged for the 439. And really, in the accuracy of the numbers, I noticed that based on our team doing texting and cold calling. So there's really only a few providers out there that I would actually recommend. Batch is what our company uses to personally, get 10 plus contracts on a monthly basis. So that's the provider that we've primarily stuck with.
So here's a question. So Israel is focusing on this one house, and the reason he's focusing on this one house is because he says it's worth $1.4 million and it needs a renovation. So Israel, this business is really simple. Let me break this business down for you. If you want to reverse engineer yourself, everybody that's listening to the comments, I want to hear how many more contracts you would like to have. So I want you to type in the comments. If you're at 0 contracts, write 0. If you want to be at 1 contract, write 1 to 0. So I'm a 0 person, or I'm sorry, 0 to 1. I want to go from 0 contracts to 1. If you're doing 4 contracts and you want to go to 8, then write 4 to 8. I want to see your guys' comments. Tell me where you're at with the first number, and then the second number where you want to go, because I want to bring a really good topic up real quick. Tell me where you're currently at, how many contracts are you closing on a monthly basis, and then where you want to be in 90 days from now. Okay. Okay. So Israel says it's not necessarily my only focus, but it's been on the back burner in my mind and has been sitting on the fence since I started 2 years ago. Okay. So you got a lot of people saying 0. Okay. Joshua Cahill saying he does 10. He wants to go to 20. So Josh, you should know at 10 contracts a month, what Cody is talking about is that most of the people that are listening are at 0 to 2 contracts a month, probably. Somebody at 10 contracts a month knows that hit rate and accuracy are both important, but hit rate, getting good numbers back is more important than accuracy right out of the gate. You want you want a high hit rate, and then you have to verify for accuracy based on how many people you're actually getting a hold of, right? Start with more numbers. So both are important. Okay, so a lot of zeros, 0 to 5, 3 to 6. Awesome. Abel says 1 to 50. Awesome. Awesome. Shy Slay says 3 to 10. Awesome. 0 to 4. Super, super good. 0 to as many as possible. So everybody that's at 0 contracts, tell me what your guys' best guess is. How many new leads do you have to have on a monthly basis to get 1 contract? New leads equals 1 contract. How many leads turns into 1 contract? Everybody give me your best guess, and I will tell you what the national average is. I won't tell you what mine and Cody's average is until after I tell you the national average, but I want to tell you the national average first of what you guys think. How many leads turns into 1 contract nationwide? Nationwide, I want to know what you guys think. How many leads do you need to get 1 contract? Okay. Awesome. Getting some good ones. Tony Tapia being a wise ass and saying 7,000. I love it. I love a good wise ass. If you guys follow me, you know I'm a wise ass too. Carradine being a wise ass. I love Carradine, by the way. He's one of the best. Johnny said
a few correct ones in here.
What's up with all these wise asses on a Sunday?
I'm wondering if some of these people are like it's 5,000 or 7,000 like actual like lists of data, like 7,000.
A qualified lead. How many qualified leads do you need to get one contract? How many qualified leads? I didn't say a list of people you've never called before. I'm talking about people that have raised their hand and said, after you've cold called them, texted them, whatever, how many people do you need to turn into one contract? How many sellers do you need to come in and say, I'm open to a cash offer to get one contract? A lot of good guesses in here. Okay, here's the right answer, guys. This is a national average. This comes from two masterminds that Cody and I are part of. These are from the top wholesalers, top real estate investors nationwide. We have all taken a consensus. We know the number. It's 50 leads is one contract. 50 leads, one contract. Okay, 50 leads turns into one contract. That's it. 50 leads, one contract. So when you get a case of one-itis where you're stuck on one address, guys, 50 leads turns to one contract. I love how PPC, somebody's doing PPCs. PPC's 7.
Yeah, but your cost per lead's like $3,000 a lead.
Your cost per lead for PPC in Arizona is about $300 cost per click. Or I'm sorry, cost per lead. So if you get 7 leads to one contract, that means that contract cost you $2,100 for that one contract with PPC. Okay. 50 leads turns to one contract. 50 leads. Okay. That's national average. 50 leads to one contract. Jeffrey Maloia says PPC, that means pay per click. That's Google AdWords. Okay. They're running ads. So Cody and my wholesale team is 1 in 43. So we need 43 leads to turn into one contract. When Cody and I are doing it ourselves and we're implementing creative financing, we need 30 leads turns into one contract. 30 leads into one contract. Okay. So our close ratio is 30 leads to one contract. So when you guys are sitting, so Cody, how many lists or what quantity of lists do I have to call in order to get 30 leads?
I mean, it really depends what type of data that you're actually going to be calling. I mean, if you can look at it on, say, if you had one cold caller that is calling one cold caller calling 6 to 8 hours a day is probably going to be getting you about 2 leads a day. So if they're calling 5 days a week, 10 leads a week times 4 weeks, one cold caller should on average equal almost 1 deal a month when they're calling on, good niche data. Like if you're calling on general lists, I mean, maybe a little bit higher, but if they're calling on niche lists like pre-foreclosures, tax delinquent, probate, inherited, things like that, you're going to see that one. You should be seeing about 1 a month after a couple months. Because also the other thing people have to understand is sometimes there's a lag in the contracts that you're getting. Maybe you generated 200 leads, you haven't got a deal yet, but some of those are taking time to follow up with, and now all of a sudden you get 3 contracts, 4 contracts in a week, then the average comes right down to where you're supposed to be. So it's also understanding that as well.
So Kafori321 says, I would trade $2,100 if I'm making a $10,000 assignment fee all day long. I do like that. I like that comment a lot. However, you have to recognize that if you're just starting out, your close ratio on a PPC will not be 1 out of 7. It'll probably be 1 out of 15. Then you also have to think about, take this one phrase to bed tonight, allocation of resources. So if you only have $2,100 to invest in your first contract, spending it on PPC is a really unintelligent way of doing it. And the reason for that is because if I only have $2,100, I want to generate as many leads as possible at the lowest cost possible. So I have my cost per contract is Cody, our cost per contract with just advertising is probably around $1,000. What do you think? $800 to $1,000?
Yeah, close to that. With
Okay, so
because of the creative finance stuff, it would be higher. But also, like, looking at it, I mean, where we have a team, it's different. But if people don't have a team, it's a little bit more enticing. But like, I look at that as like, if we had to spend $2,100 just on the lead, plus then we pay a commission, we pay high commissions to our team. So like, we pay almost 30% out in commission. So that's, you know, another $3,000 that's being paid on that, plus other miscellaneous costs that we have. So I mean, we're gonna make $4,000 essentially a profit. I mean, I don't really like it.
hey, Mashika, did you tune out for like 3 or 4 minutes because we talked about how many leads to contract for about 2 minutes straight? You must have checked out, or maybe you're asking a different question. I just want to make sure I'm not misunderstanding your question. It's 50 leads per one contract is the national average. What is your guys' cost per deal? Our cost per deal, our cost per contract is the name of the KPI. I'd say it's $1,000. Depends on the month, but I'd say it's $1,000.
I need to go through and have Tony give us the updates. Our bookkeeper is supposed to give us the updates for Q2 on that, so we'll make sure to share that this week with you guys.
So our cost per deal is about $1,000. So I put $1,000 into marketing. I'm getting a contract, and our average assignment fee right now is hovering around $15,000. So how many addresses or okay, got it. Thank you, Mashika. How many addresses or prospects do you need to get to 50 leads? You're going to need 5,000 to 6,000 names on a list for one cold caller to generate 50 leads a month.
And it depends on the list too. I mean, if it's 5,000 that are just niche, you may be able to get it with less. But if it's 5,000 general, just high equity, you may need more. So you got to keep that in mind too.
So got anybody that's wanting to go from 0 to 1 contracts a month. This is why I asked you guys to put that in there. Okay. There's a lot of people in here saying 0 to 1, 0 to 1, 0 to 1. Okay. 0 to 1. How do you do that? Do you get better at understanding creative financing? Do you get better at closing deals? Do you get better at, what do you get better at? The thing you get better at is generating leads. That's it. That's what this business comes down to, is talking to motivated sellers. Or in Cody's situation, he talks to motivated sellers or he creates the leads and the opportunities. I talk to the motivated sellers. That's a perfect partnership. So if
I have a really good learning experience for the people. Sorry to interrupt you, but I think this would actually be really good because you are the sales expert for our organization. One of our acquisition guys, Nick, is working on a contract. So this would actually be helpful for coaching moment for him to be able to get to him. So Nick has a seller that they wanted to move forward at 180,000. This is in Florida. The seller wanted to move forward at 180. We go out there to get pictures of the property. Seller says, in good condition, just needs cosmetic updating. We go in there. The roof actually is currently leaking. There's water spots in 2 different parts of the house. But other than that, it is just cosmetic. So it needs a new roof. So obviously not just cosmetic. So we need to get the seller down in price. We're actually considering flipping it. Is what we're considering. Just literally closing on it, new roof, and then just clean up inside. But we probably need to get it down from 180 down to about 170 because the roof will cost about 10 grand. It's a 2,000 square foot house. So that's the issues. The seller wanted to move forward at 180, told us it's just light cosmetic updating. Then we get there, needs a new roof. So how would you say we should handle that situation? So I can go back to Coach Nick on what to do, because obviously, the seller didn't give us the full insight. There's a tenant in the property, so the seller might not have known fully, but that is obviously something that has to be paid for.
Hold on. Yeah, I'm happy to answer that question. Hold on. How important is the quality of the call or text at that volume to generate 50 leads? Our lead generation comes from Filipinos, Daryl. So you can answer that question yourself. Our Filipinos are never going to be as good as you on the phone. They're never going to be as good as me on the phone. They're never going to be as good as an American. So what is more important in this business than being good on the phone or being perfect accent is consistency and timing. That's the most important part in this business. And the number one thing I can tell you that everybody that fails at in this that are watching right now is consistency. They make excuses of why they shouldn't call today, or, hey, I'll call in 2 hours. Guys, give me a thumbs up if you've ever told yourself, I'm going to start cold calling. 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 And then 30 days later, you still haven't started cold calling. You're still watching YouTube videos. You're still watching people's content. You're still learning. You're still learning. Yet, you've never talked to a motivated seller, or you're simply not talking to enough. It comes down to that one thing, is consistency and timing. And if you are not consistently calling, it doesn't matter your accent, it doesn't matter where you're from, whether you're male, whether you're female. None of that matters. The only thing that matters is consistency. Okay?
Like, you're consistent or non-existent. I like that.
Right? So that's it. So you see Benjamin Hobbs steps up to the plate and says, yep, that's me. Guess what, bro? We've all been there. That's why I don't cold call. That's why Cody doesn't cold call. That's why nobody on our team cold calls, because nobody in our organization would consistently do it and own it. That's why we hire cold callers, because we suck at it and we're not consistent at it. So we choose the things that we know we will be consistent at. We focus on those things and we hire everything else out. Okay? Cassandra says, if I send a text blast, do I still need to call the seller? Yes. You've pulled the list. You've skip traced the data. You've already spent the most expensive part. Why not call them and text them? The likelihood of you getting a hold of them doubles, because now, again, you're missing the point. Jerry says, Pace, did your text lead Andres follow a script for his text team? Yes, Jerry. If you go back about a month ago, Cody did a live stream for about an hour of Andres sharing his screen and showing you guys exactly how we text people. Let's see. Okay, so Cody, you've got a question. Your question is, let's give the context of this, because Nick and them are not following the process properly. What they should have told the seller is, hey, as long as this is a cosmetic rehab, we are good to go at 180.
I'm pretty sure that's what Nick told them, but told the sellers. But now it's just the sellers like, well, I don't want to sign the agreement if you're gonna change up the price, but we just got pictures. So Nick just sent the seller the pictures so they could see the condition, which is definitely way different than what the seller thought it was. And Nick hasn't tried to renegotiate it or anything. As far as where he's at now, is just instilled some doubt in the seller. The seller's like, oh, I want my attorney to look at the contract. I don't want you guys to retrade me on price, before she saw the pictures. And basically now, he's sent the pictures over to, are you calling Nick? Perfect.
Hey, how's it going?
I don't know this Florida deal.
Yeah, so she's wanting us to not do an inspection.
And why not?
I guess she's saying that she knows that people try to do an inspection and have contractors go and give them a bid and we adjust our price.
Okay.
That's her concern, because she has tenants and she doesn't want to have to kick them out and everything.
Okay, so is she's saying something to you like suspicious to you, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I would reply back to her with something and just say, hey, with all due respect, if somebody's not allowing me to buy something at the price they're asking, and not allowing me to inspect merchandise, I get a little suspicious myself. Where's the middle ground here? Ask her that. Where's the middle ground here?
Okay, so just kind of spin it back on her.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that the truth? You're going to go and buy a house, but nobody's going to give you inspection. Doesn't that seem suspicious to you?
Yeah.
Bro.
We did get photos and everything, and there's you can see leaks on the roof.
Okay, so that's what I would tell her. Say, hey, look, I don't think there's a major problem with the roof, but the photos that I got back show that the house might need another roof. I just need a roofer to go verify the house, or I need a roofer to go verify the roof. That's the only inspection I need.
Yeah, so she came back and said that she wanted us to do the inspection before we made the offer. So I think that's just kind of where we're at now. is
Okay, then
around that.
here's my question. Where do we need the buy price to be?
So ideally, we wanted to get it at 170.
Okay.
She wanted 180. So Tommy said we can do it at 180. We just don't know what we're going to dispo it at. So that makes me a little uncomfortable getting it at that price.
Yeah, with the roof issue, it makes us want to be closer to 170. Pre-roof issue, we were good at 180.
Okay, my question is, can you make money on it at 180?
Very uncertain because of the roof.
Yeah.
Tommy already pre-shopped it to a few of our buyers out there, and their concerns are the roof. They're like, we're gonna have to send a roofer. Everyone's saying we're gonna have to send a roofer. We're gonna have to send a roofer. We're gonna have to send a roofer. That's everyone's. What?
At what price?
At 180, our contract price. They're like, they're pocket buyers that buy a lot of deals, and they're like, hey, I don't even know if I would buy that.
Buyers are saying they'd buy it at 180, assuming they'd have a roofer go out and take a look at it. So there is no money to make.
Yeah, that's why we need it at 170.
Okay, Nick, I don't care if you lose this contract. I want you to play a little bit of hardball with this lady and just say, hey, you know what? We're coming up with the price that you're asking, without an inspection period on this. Seeing the photos I just saw back about the roof, and you not wanting an inspection period, it raises suspicions on our end as well. Is there some middle ground here? ? That's the text I want you to send her.
Perfect.
Okay.
I'll send it to her right now.
All right. Thanks. So it's not a deal anyway. So this is the thing as well, guys, is you guys got to understand it's not a deal at 180. So just don't chase every single deal. You got to play a little bit of hardball with sellers, and they're like, we're not going to give you an inspection period. You know why they're not giving you an inspection period? Is because they've already been locked up with another wholesaler at that price, and then they've been negotiated with and canceled on. So I'm not going to lock it up at that price. And we're going to press back on her and be professional and say, is there some middle ground here? Let's figure this out. Okay. Amanda Pereira. I'm so sorry. I suck at pronouncing these names, guys. I'm trying to get better. The relationship with VA Hub, what does that look like? They provide the person, we train and provide lists. Do they do any other VA assignments or just calls?
Yeah, so you provide the lists. As far as training, they do basic training, but everyone runs their business a little bit differently. The way that we want them to put in leads is going to be probably different than the way that you want leads put in. The way that we have our cold callers call is basically to find sellers that are raising their hand and having the 4 pillars. These are people that are saying, yes, I want to sell. I have a reason to sell. I have a motivation to sell. I have a general idea of a price that I want to sell at. And here's the condition of the property that I want to sell. That's what we want our cold callers to do. You may have a different process that may change on that. So you need to do additional training based on the way that you want that process to look like. So that's what I always tell anyone with their VAs is like, they'll have a general outline of what they're doing and how to, make the calls. But if you want them to do things different, you got to train them on making some of those changes. They have a manager, a CSM, a client success manager that'll actually help with that training process. But you have to show them what you want that process to look like for you to be able to get the best results. But yeah, you provide the list.
That
yeah.
Every time I've had to fire a VA, well, number one, it's not my personality to want to manage another human being. I don't like it. I'd rather have somebody else manage them and just report back to me, which is cool about VA Hub. Essentially, if you hire somebody from VA Hub, they're managed by somebody. You don't have to worry about 99% of stuff you normally would. But every time I hired a VA and then fired them, the number one reason why I thought they sucked, do you know what the number one reason I thought they sucked was, Cody?
Why?
Because I did not educate and train them properly. And then I just thought they were robots when I hired them, and they just magically knew exactly what I wanted when I hired them. And then I would get frustrated when they would ask me a question. I'd be like, how are you a VA and you have all these questions? Guys, it's amazing. Yes, VA Hub will ask you questions about your business. They'll find and hire somebody and cater them to your business. If that person ends up quitting or getting fired, they replace that person. You don't have to find them, hire them, onboard them, because they already understand what you're doing in your business. It's not perfect. It's just 1,000 times better than what most people are doing. Hold on, Reese Pennington. I've been having the biggest problem with the manager who is my VA. I've talked to him 3 times about the same stuff. I like the VA, but want to fire the customer service manager. Reese, who's the customer service manager? Cody will call them and talk to them.
Yeah, let me know.
Crystal makes a joke. Crystal makes a joke. Oh, I don't know if you got the screenshot. Cody, here's the screenshot. So, Reese, just so you know, Cody's taking a screenshot of this and sending it to VA Hub right now.
Yep.
Crystal makes a joke and says, "You mean VAs are not transformers?" Some people think they are. His VA, his customer service person is Jerome.
Okay, I'll let him know.
Thank you, Reese. Super helpful. Mashika, I'm trying to figure out if I need to walk away or keep pursuing. Are you talking about this business in general, Mashika?
Hi, Pace. Mashika's the girl I've been helping the last few days
okay.
with the seller. She got into a little confusion with explaining building interest into the price yesterday by text. We were going to try and give her a call, and I was just trying to call Mashika just before this, actually. I think she's a little frustrated with the seller and the position that she's in, but I've offered to give the seller a call, who happens to be a realtor. And on the last text, was kind of mentioned that she wasn't sure Mashika knew what she was clear on interest rates, etc. She tried to calculate 4% of the total price and adding that onto the price as building it in. I didn't explain it clearly enough, where we were just trying to add value to the price and avoid the calculation of interest in the purchase price on a SubTo for her. And she's wondering whether she should walk away. But I said that I think there's definitely still a deal there. I'd offer to give her a call and kind of bring the seller back round.
Okay, cool. Tristan, why don't you and I have an offline conversation about that? Cody, where are you at on this list for Tristan?
Let me double check. Let's see if it's ready to be skip traced now.
Okay, let's skip trace it. Tristan, here's what we're going to do for your list. We're going to take your list and we're going to throw it in the SubTo Facebook group, so everybody in the SubTo mentorship can start calling on it and start helping out.
That's very kind. Thank you so much.
All right, brother. Thank you so much.
Everybody, thank you.
We're going to jump off and answer a bunch more questions. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Later, brother.
Hey, Tristan. I'm going to go quick.
Okay, no problem. Let me jump on. I'll jump on some questions while you're out for a second. All right, guys. I got you all to myself. Guys, we love doing Sunday service. It's like one of my favorite things. Mashika, yes, you can be brought into the offline call. That would be the whole purpose. Let's see. Let's answer some questions here. Daryl Banks, seller has liens, but was deemed uncollectible in 2012. Doesn't want to sell if he has to pay liens. Thoughts? Cut loose or what? Daryl, what kind of liens are they? Have you looked into the liens? Have you got a copy of the lien paperwork? Depending on the types of liens, the answer is going to be a little bit different. Let's talk about those. Marcio, how many text messages are your VAs sending per day? Our VAs collectively are sending out 7,500 text messages every single day. We send out 7,500 text messages every single day. James Basic, you're almost on every live that I do because you're in my mentorship. So I'd be happy to have you jump on there. We'll figure that out. Lawrence Swartz, what are your thoughts on the idea of exploring smaller towns which don't have a "We Buy Houses" sign on every street corner? So much competition here in Maryland. Lawrence Swartz, I just had lunch with a couple of people in San Diego here, and everybody complains about competition, but I would never go into a market that doesn't have competition. I would never, ever, ever go into a market that doesn't have competition. What competition tells you is there's buyers. It means that the sellers are amenable. It means there are deals to be had. There are so many places where you can lock up a contract super easy, but there's nobody fixing and flipping. I would not spend any of my time unless there's a ton of activity. We're in the 3 hottest markets. 3. We chose to go into the 3 most competitive markets. Phoenix, which is the most. There is no more competitive market than Phoenix. No more competitive market than Phoenix. None. 0. Zilch. So we are in Phoenix, we are in Orlando, and we will be opening back in Atlanta again, another highly competitive market. Another very, very highly competitive market. I would never, Cody, would you ever go into a tertiary market where there's not a lot of competition, or do you feel like it's a waste of time because there's not enough buyers?
Yeah, that's the biggest challenge, is there really isn't enough buyers. Like, calling him out a little bit, but my friend Dylan, that's in South Jersey, he has a hard time. He'll get deals and he can't sell them very frequently. So he has to flip most of his deals himself because there aren't enough buyers that are buying there. So that is the challenge. So it's like, it really matters on, do you want to be able to do volume of deals or, a consistent amount of deals? That's going to be those bigger markets where there's large population influx going into that market, lots of homes being built around the area. I mean, you want to be in where there's a lot of growth and competition. I mean, that's just bottom line.
Joseph O'Boyle, would you recommend doing seller financing with 100% equity rather than SubTo for beginners? No, I would recommend doing either one. There's really no difference. Why would a SubTo be more intricate than a seller finance? I actually feel like SubTo is way easier than seller finance. People talk about seller finance because they don't understand it. There's a couple of guys that teach seller finance because they're afraid to talk about SubTo. The reality is, when you're negotiating and closing a contract, you on a seller finance, Cody and I own several, a whole bunch of seller finance houses. One of our really good seller finance deals, the one on 78th, our tenants paid for their deposit, did all that stuff, and 2 months later reconciled with their wife, moved out. We kept the deposit. Now we've got another person moving in. We love seller finance, but here's the reality. The person you're negotiating with primarily as the bank is the seller. There's a lot more negotiating going on with seller finance, but on a subject to, a lot of our sellers just say, here's my keys, take them. Like, we just closed on a deal in Vegas for free. The seller flat out says, I have no money, or I don't want any money. I'll just give you the house. So I don't have to negotiate with the bank. I just take over the property. So easier in terms of being a newbie, subject to all day long. Subject to all day long. Don't listen to anybody at all. If they tell you seller finance is easier than SubTo, ask them to see HUDs. Say, show me your settlement statements, the last deal you closed. That's what you should say to those people. Okay, so Daryl Banks, I don't know what it is about Daryl. I love Daryl, but he seems to always look for the most challenging deals. He's always got deals with liens and issues, all that kind of stuff. So he's saying, if a seller is deemed uncollectible from a tax lien perspective, Daryl, here's what I would say is, I would say, yes, you can buy the house on a contract for deed or an agreement for sale, depending on where you're at. That's how I would acquire the property, so there's no transfer of ownership and it doesn't show. And then but before you close escrow, look at the tax situation that he's in and bring that to me. You're in my private mentorship. Let's bring all those lien information to me. But don't just say it's a tax lien. Bring the lien to me, and you and I together, brother, we will go through those, and I will tell you whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. Okay? Bring that to the table.
Show everyone something on batch in regards to Tristan's list. I'm not going to go through like the whole skipping and all that, but just showing one of 100 reasons why we like using batch. I'm going to share my screen real quick just so people can get an understanding of the power of using a stacker. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, so here's, guys, I want you to look at this. So we're on the list for Tristan. There's 1,786 results here. So now, normally, what would you do with this list, this new list that you just pulled? You're just going to go and skip trace all 1,700 records. But here's the key, is some of these, you'll notice, are on more than one list. So I already have some of these. So what you can do with batch is also save, honestly, just in the money that you can save on a monthly basis, just from not re-skipping some of the same data, it's worth it to use batch, right? So what you can do is the list that that we have pulled for Tristan, we're going to go to skip traced and we're going to select no. So then we can see the properties that we actually need to skip trace. So we went from 1,700 results to 460. So we have a list that we already have 1,300 or so of those records already skip traced. So we only need to spend money on 460 of those. And then we'll have a completed 1,700 record list of the data for Tristan's home search. So that in itself is going to save us a lot of money. So that was just something that I wanted to share with everybody, because a lot of people, they're re-skipping the same list. They'll pull a new list and then they'll go skip trace it, and then they'll pull a similar list and pay for the same data. It's just, you waste a lot of money that way.
Okay, so Lawrence Schwartz. I just mentioned we bought a house in Las Vegas. Lawrence Schwartz, are you paying attention? We just said we bought a house in Las Vegas for free. The seller did not ask for any money. We simply took over the property. The answer is yes. Dozens and dozens and dozens of our students are currently doing this right now. Buying a SubTo with no money down is a common practice. Okay. Brody says, what skip tracing service do you use on the back end? Brody, why would we use anybody else except for batch skip tracing? It's all included. Cody, why don't you show, like, you can pull a list and skip trace it in the same system, right?
Yep. Yeah. 100%. I mean, that's what I was doing earlier today when you called me.
Got it. So Lawrence Schwartz, hopefully that answers your question. Yes, a lot of our houses we buy are $0 down, taking over people's mortgages. Kyle Scott, would you recommend cold calling yourself or door knocking to get your first deal? Kyle Scott, give me more context. If you had a full-time job and you had a big budget, I would tell you to go hire VAs from VA Hub and have them do cold calling, because cold calling yourself, people go, oh, you need to learn how to cold call. No, you don't. No, you don't.
Never has cold called in his life.
You never have to cold. You don't have to cold call to do this business. That's such a bag of crap. People that say, oh, you need to start cold calling yourself, don't. No. If you have the budget, then hire a cold caller right from the get-go. Okay? But if you don't have a budget and you don't have the ability to hire a cold caller, then yes, door knocking or driving for dollars using GoKnock. GoKnock is not just a door knocking app. It's a verbal driving for dollars app. You can just press on the phone and you can get on the phone with the seller right away. Okay?
Nelson, this is a good question, Pace. What's the best way to build the disposition side of your business? So what we actually do is we farm for cash buyers utilizing batch. We'll pull those lists from there. And then some of the other ways that we'll build our list is in an area, say we get a deal in a zip code, we'll actually have a VA go into that zip code and find people that have bought cash within the last year, more than one property cash. And then we have that VA compile a list of those properties. And then we actually send text messages out to those buyers, seeing if they want to buy more properties or buy the property that we just got under contract. Some of the systems that we actually use, if you guys want, Pace and I actually put together a roadmap showing all the aspects of our business for all of our marketing, our acquisition, our systems, our disposition of properties. If you guys go to roadmaprei.com, you could see the systems that we use to actually find that data and to actually pull those lists. So that's what we do for building up our buyers list. Is we don't try to build our buyers list before we have a deal. We get a deal and then we're going after everybody in that area. We're finding every cash buyer that's been buying properties in that area, because if they've bought 2 or more in the last year, they're probably going to buy more properties. They're probably an investor that's buying to flip or to hold.
Love it. Okay, cool. So I think you said you should go back a month to see scripts, but if everyone is paying attention, Batch just banned a lot of words. So 30 days ago, script are not relevant. Joshua Cahill, for somebody that's doing 10 contracts a month, I'm sure you've already adjusted for this, but a very simple thing to do on your scripts, it does pertain. A very simple way around the and it's not just Batch, it's every texting platform. Do you know why Batch is banning those words? Is because the carriers are banning those words. Okay, and if your texting platform right now, I'm not talking to you, Josh, at this time, I'm talking through you. If your texting platform like Lead Sherpa or Lead Genie or whatever the other stuff is, if they're not outwardly telling you, hey, these words are now banned by the carriers, That they're not a customer service oriented business. So, for example, Cody and I were using Roar, ROOR, for a long time. When we switched over to Batch, our conversion rate went way up. Our hit rate went way up. All that stuff went way up. And Batch tells you all the time, hey, these words are now banned. They're not banned by Batch. They're banned by the carriers, and you are going to get blocked by the carriers. This has nothing to do with Batch. Batch is just smart enough to watch it and let you know as the customer. So what do we do with the same script? We just misspell some of the words by altering a word or a vowel or whatever. So it's the same. The seller can get it, but it's misspelled a little bit so that it looks like somebody, it actually looks better because it looks like somebody that's texting it themselves and it's not coming from a robo-dialer. You ever send somebody a text, it's a little bit befuddled? It's not like ultra professional and ultra specific and you just are like, oh, whatever, it doesn't matter. They're my friend, they're my whatever. That's how you need to make your text messages. That's a game changer for anybody that's using texting, is just change up the spelling a little bit.
And I think that people need to realize too, like, because I've had some people tell me that they're upset about Batch changing that. It's not even, it's funny because Batch, it's not that they're changing it, it's that they want to help their users actually get good results, because the other carriers not enforcing that, your deliverability is going down. Like if the amount of messages you're sending that aren't actually reaching the homeowner is going down when you're using those words, because the carriers are spam blocking you.
Crystal flat out says, we can vouch for Batch. Our last deal was via Batch, stacking and texting. Absolutely love Batch so much. Crystal, by the way, we love you as well. You're amazing. We don't own Batch. We don't care whether you guys use Batch or not, but you know what I do care about is people constantly talking about, oh, did you try this service? Did you try that service? Did you try that service? It is a constant conversation at every seminar I go to, every meeting I go to, and the reason why they keep jumping around to different services is because they get excited about a new service that works for a week and then it falls off and they go jump and find another service. Do you know why? Because they're trying to save every last little penny. Guys, use the right services that actually get people deals and stop messing around with all the no-name crappy brands. Is it true?
Real quick, Pace, on that point, one of the reasons that we really do like Batch though is because they're open to feedback. That's the biggest thing, is us as actual investors that are actually proactively marketing and working to get deals. We have to make changes as the market changes, as the marketing world changes as well. And literally, I was on a call on Friday because we've became close friends with Jesse, Annie, and Evo, the owners of Batch, and we can give them actual feedback. I literally spent 20 minutes on a call with Evo and Jesse, for lack of a better term, bitching about things that I want to be better or to be added. I'm like, yo, add more lists. So like, they're like, okay, well, we'll add more lists. This should be like this, so it could be even better. Okay, we'll make that change. So they're actually open to feedback. That's why I like Batch. I mean, a lot of systems, you can't actually give feedback and they'll actually make changes. That's one of my favorite things, is they're open to making their system better.
So a couple of good questions here. How do I write up a contract for a sub-2 deal? Vicky Stewart, when you get a contract, when you get a seller ready to sign a sub-2 contract, go to the Creative Financing Facebook group and see if you can find one of my students. One of my students will walk you through how to write a contract. Okay, it depends on the area, but my students will walk you through writing a contract and maybe JV with you on the deal. Real Namaste, can you do virtual driving for dollars with GoKnock? Absolutely. I imagine that it will become the #1 way people use GoKnock is virtual driving for dollars. Okay. By the way, Cody did not get a chance to talk about this enough. This is something that Cody and I brought out. It was like, I don't want to take credit for it, but I'm going to take credit for it. Cody's done the majority of the work on it, so I got to give him credit. He's done the majority of the work on this. But one day I called Cody. I go, bro, you know what we need? We need like a one-stop shop to answer the majority of the questions that people have on a day-to-day basis. Like, what does your podio look like? What list do you pull? How do you pay your acquisition department? How do you find your acquisition department? All the questions we get that are like the general questions, we created a roadmap. It's free. There's no upsells. There's no any of that kind of stuff. We just created this thing because we thought it would offload a lot of questions that we answer over and over and over. Roadmaprei.com is a free website. I think it makes you like log in just so people can't steal it and like claim it as their own. But you log into it and it's free. You can go in there and see exactly what we use, and we're improving it and making it more
pretty much every month. Like we just put it out last week, and I'm already like, man, like we need to change so many things on there. So, and then people have given us feedback of what to add too. So one of the things that we're going to be working on is actually making videos showing how, like literally how we use these different systems and what our acquisition department looks like. Because right now we have, for example, like who's in our acquisition department, what those individuals do. But we're going to work on actually making some videos and continuously adding and updating it all throughout this year. So version 1 is up, but we're going to keep making changes and making it better. And, the more frequent questions we get, the more we are going to start adding and adding and adding to that roadmap.
So Rami Abdallah, if you're unsure about the details of structuring a SubTo deal, how do you go about that if a seller is interested in terms? You go into the free Facebook group, Creative Finance with Pace Morby, and you ask and say, hey, is there somebody in here? We have hundreds of students. Is there somebody in this area that is a SubTo student that can help me structure a deal? That's where you go. Ask my students. They're being taught not only to structure deals, but how to teach other people how to structure deals. What was the name of that website again? It is roadmaprei.com. Roadmaprei.com is the name of that website. Go there right now. It's super cool. It's interactive. And I'd say in 2 or 3 months, it's going to be like completely done and awesome. Right now, it's halfway done and really, really cool. It is our roadmap to success. Okay, roadmaprei.com. So I can see a bunch of my students in here. You've got, Matt Beard says, how many flips are we going to do together in July? I don't know. Cody, you probably know.
He sent me 2 more yesterday. Matt, you still need to send me the pictures so I could underwrite them. But he wants to do a lot more flips. So
yes, Oscar, the roadmaprei.com is free. It basically lays out mine and Cody's wholesale business and answers a lot of questions there. It's like a very simple roadmap. It's cool. It will probably, for right now, create way more questions than it answers.
Yes, exactly.
but it will give you a general overview. Yeah. But there's the name of the website right now, roadmaprei.com. So, by the way, Matt and Cody, I just got another $100,000 from a lender that will do our gap funding. So we need to be doing more flips, guys. More flips. I want more flips. Okay. When buying a SubTo deal, do you use an entity similar to the previous owner's names to avoid the due on sale clause, or how do you avoid that? Again, I'm going to refer back to my students on this. I teach them all about the due on sale clause. But no, we buy in our own LLCs that don't have our names attached to them. Not that matters. That has nothing to do with the due on sale clause. The number one reason why the due on sale clause gets called is because people set up the insurance improperly. So you need to learn how to set up the insurance properly to avoid the due on sale clause. That's the number one reason why the due on sale clause gets called. Here's Rudy Barrera. Anybody that's in California needs help with doing deals. There's Rudy. Matt, bro, we need those deals, bro, because we got extra. Rami Abdallah. I'm going to be in Riverside, guys. I just so you guys know, for anybody that hasn't been paying attention and watching my Instagram and whatever, my wife and I are currently traveling the country helping SubTo, TTP, Astroflip, and Steve Trang students getting deals, and I'm just traveling the country in my Airstream, which is why I switched over to my. Check me out, dog.
Airstreamed up.
I'm Airstreamed up, dog. I'm very redneck right now. This is what I do now,
dude. I keep seeing Airstreams everywhere now. Like I'm just like,
it's so weird how that works. So I'm going to be in Riverside, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Sacramento, Fresno, Boise, Seattle, Eugene, Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and then all the way Wyoming, Montana, Denver, everywhere in Utah, Albuquerque, all that stuff coming back home. So I'm going to be all over the country, guys, hanging out with my students. Reese Pennington says, if you need help with, you can help me. Feel free to reach out to me as soon as I'm in the Maryland area. So Reese Pennington's a student. Let's see. Hoping you get a number of deals in Orlando shortly. Relaunching virtually there later this week with VA Hub VA. Awesome. Cody and I are getting a decent amount of deals in Orlando now that we've reopened up there. We love it. I know Matt is doing a bunch of stuff in Orlando. Matt's amazing. You guys are going to be seeing a lot more of Matt. Matt runs vahub.com, and you're going to be seeing a lot more of him on Fridays talking about VAs in the Creative Finance Facebook group. All right, let's go through some questions, Cody. I'm gonna let you talk for a little bit.
All right, let's see.
I will be. So Alex Peranzi, you're an interesting gentleman, and I appreciate you. But if you've been looking at my tour, you also know it's just a West Coast tour, and I do have to come home at some point. So I'm going to come home for a month, and then I'm going to leave for another 3 or 4 months. So during that next 3 or 4 months, that's going to be an East Coast trip. Brian Yelling, when we disposition a co-wholesale deal, is it better to use an option contract or a JV agreement? Brian Yelling, I can tell you, Cody and I have never used either one of those.
Dope.
Cody, when we co-wholesale a deal, we're just getting that. They're just sending us an assignment contract, right?
Yes. Yeah, we just have them send an assignment contract to us, and then we just have them, if they want us to help sell the deal, we'll have them send an assignment contract to us with a $0 earnest to them, because we just want the equitable right to be able to sell it. And then, if they only want us to try to sell it for a certain amount of days, 5 days to, try to sell it to an end buyer or whatever.
Facebook user says, come to Baltimore. I will 100% come to Baltimore. I have a bunch of students in Baltimore, Maryland. 100%. Florida, 1000%. When I come to Florida, Cody will probably visit with me there in Florida. Cody, what are your top lists to stack in order to create a very niche list?
I was literally just writing this down for someone the other day. Top three to get like some juicy boy deals would be vacant, inherited/probate, and then financial distress. Like those three together are probably going to bring some of the highest profit deals. So properties that are vacant, a property that somebody has passed away, and then financial distress, meaning that either the property is now in pre-foreclosure, there's a tax lien, HOA liens, some type of high level of liens against that property. Three levels of pain are going to be the best type of niche data. So that's what I would stack, especially if you're on a limited budget. I would be stacking at least 2 layers of pain in the list that you're marketing towards if you have a very limited budget. We have to do more general lists because we do a lot of marketing, but we have our best cold callers and our best texters focus on the niche stuff. So like we have 3 different texters, and I have our best texter text all of our niche stacked lists. And then I have our other 2 focusing on the more general lists. And then we have 8 cold callers, but we have our 2 best cold callers call the stack data. And then the other 6 are calling on more generic data.
Are you still pulling pre-foreclosure lists even though they're stopping foreclosures? Yes, 100%. Do you know why? Because a lot of times the sellers have pain points that have nothing to do with the foreclosure. The foreclosure is just a really good indication that they have pain points. So you call them up, they might need to relocate, they might be going through a divorce. It might have nothing to do with the foreclosure process. They just stop making the payment because they don't want to live there. So absolutely. And also, the pre-foreclosure list is very small. It's only 1,800 records in Arizona, probably climbing closer to 2,500 or 3,000 at this point, but still a very small list.
Yeah.
Vicky Stewart says, Pace, I live in Riverside County. It's awesome that you're coming out this way. Yes, I'm spending Tuesday, Wednesday with my students in Riverside. I have students in Riverside. I'm spending Tuesday and Wednesday with them. Cody is coming out to Newport Beach. We've got a really big meetup in Newport Beach Thursday, July 9th. Cody's going to be out for the next couple of days after that. And then me, Cody, and Jamil are going to be planning another meetup in Los Angeles probably Saturday or Sunday of next week, where we'll do like an in-person Sunday service that we will stream for everybody. So if you're in the LA area, we're going to do a free meetup with anybody that wants to come. It's going to be all about comping properties and dispoing deals. Cody, call tools are only able to call 10 numbers at a time. How many did you set up to be? Many did you set up to be called at the same time?
So we have it calling seven at a time, and then our actual dial speed is at normal. That's another setting that you'll have on there, because you can have it be dialing a lot, but we also don't want to work through the list too quickly, because if you call 10 people at the same time, usually you're going to be having 3 to 4 within that same kind of time that are actually going to be answering, and then it's going to be clearing those calls when you get connected with somebody live. So we have it at 7. So then, we hope that 1 or 2 people will be answering at all times. So our agents are always on the phone, and then our connect speed is normal. So then we're hoping that with that, it's able to remove some of the voicemails that are going to connect, and our agents aren't spending the time on voicemails.
Okay. So what does call tools do? Joseph O'Boyle, you must be a very brand new investor, which is awesome. It's a great question. Cody, what does call tools do?
It's a dialer that allows you to dial through a lot of records, like a normal person using call tools and, a normal 6 to 8 hour day can dial through 600 to 800 actual, phone calls and actually get on the phone with a lot of people in that time. So 600 to 800 phone calls in a day versus if you're calling just on your regular cell phone, 6 to 8 hours, you're going to call maybe 40 to 80 people, depending on conversations, right?
Yes, sir. Crystal, when are you going to be in San Francisco? We will be there Thursday, meeting up with Eddie Loza. I will not be in San Francisco for almost 3 weeks. I'm traveling up the coast, playing Pebble Beach, going to Fresno. Actually, I've got here. Let me pull up my list. I just emailed it to Cody. Actually,
should I be bringing the golf clubs for one of those days that I'm actually there, or should I not? I just don't want to bring them if I don't think we're going to golf on the 10th or the 11th.
What do you think?
I don't know.
1,000%, dog.
All right.
Okay, so I'm going to be Temecula. So right now I'm in Temecula's Carlsbad, San Diego. I've been here for the last couple of days. I'm leaving tomorrow. We're going to be moving up to Riverside, Moreno Valley, Los Angeles. Then I'm going down to Newport Beach and the areas around Newport Beach. Then I'm going up to LA again, and more specific, like the Malibu side, so Santa Barbara, Santa Monica. Anybody that's in those areas, Converge, Cody, myself, Jamil are going to be there. Then I'm going up Pismo Beach, Big Sur, Pebble Beach. So that's going to be all family stuff for about a week. I'll be working, but not meeting with sellers. I'm sorry, not sellers, but students. Then I'm going to Fresno. I'm going to Stockton, San Francisco, Sacramento, Lake Tahoe, Reno area. So Reno, Nevada, and then Boise. And then that's probably, let's see, when will that be? I'll be in Stockton on August 9th and 12th. So I'm about a month from now. Holy crap. Can you believe? I'm thinking about where I'm going to be in a month is only like up the coast. Holy crap, dude. What am I doing, man? What am I doing? Okay, so Cody, this is a common question that keeps popping up.
Yes, they're texting and calling the same list because it's the demographic of who's answering. Most people that are texters that are going to be responding to text marketing aren't going to be responding to cold call marketing, and vice versa. 80-year-old grandma is not texting you, but you're going to probably get a hold of them on the phone if you call them, versus a 20, 30, 40-year-old, if you're texting them, are more likely to text you back versus answer a phone call.
So guys, we got about 300 people watching, which is awesome. When Cody and I were at our peak doing this repeatedly before SubTo.com was released, we had about 500-600 people watching live. So we do appreciate you guys coming back and watching this. And, we do this because we enjoy doing it. We absolutely love talking real estate. Here we are on Sunday. And as long as you guys get value from it, we'll probably continue to do it. Maybe what we should do is come up with a topic for next Sunday service. Guys, tell us a topic. Tell us a topic. Just type in the comments. What is a topic that you felt like was the one that got you the most excited about that we talked about today? what was the thing that you would want us to talk more about in 2 weeks? And we'll make it a more specific, targeted conversation for the Sunday service coming up in 2 weeks. So, couple things. Cody, talk about the schedule coming up this coming week in the free Facebook group. What kind of things are we going to be talking about? And then when can everybody expect Sunday service to be more repetitive now that we're on a little bit more repetitive schedule?
Yeah. So guys, if you're not in the creative financing with Pace Morby Facebook group, make sure to go and join that right now. Like right now, creative financing with Pace Morby. We have a schedule every week. There's going to be 5 lives a week in that group because people kept requesting. And so we put together our top topics that people are asking about on a weekly basis. And we put a schedule together. So if you're in the creative financing with Pace Morby Facebook group, go to the events calendar and you could actually see when all of the lives are going to be. But a quick run through of those lives is Monday at 5 o'clock Mountain Time. We actually have Wholesale Hotline, which happens every single week with Pace Morby, Brent Daniels, and Jamil Damji. So that happens every Monday, where they're helping people that are new in the wholesaling business, talk about their deals, how to do better and get more deals. Tuesdays, we actually have 9 a.m. Mountain Time. Our disposition guy on our team, Jeff Dwyer, is going live, comping deals that we're currently working on or deals that we've sold, answering your questions about underwriting wholesale deals. Wednesdays are going to be live 9 a.m. Mountain Time with myself, talking about marketing, systems, lists, list stacking, everything marketing. Wednesdays, 9 a.m. Mountain Standard. Thursdays is going to be live with Pace at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time as well. And it's Deal or No Deal. He's going to be looking at your creative finance deals, underwriting creative finance deals, answering all of your questions about creative finance underwriting on Thursdays, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. And then finishing up the week is going to be Matt Beard with everything to do with success with virtual assistants. He's actually putting together a 10-week deal where it's going to be on a different topic, literally like classroom schedule for 10 weeks in a row. He's going to be talking about how to take your business from nothing to basically 6 figures utilizing virtual assistants. So that's going to be Fridays at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. And then Sunday service after July is going to be every other Sunday, but obviously we're doing it right now and we're going to be doing it live in person next Sunday. So that's what it's going to look like every single week. So if you guys are getting any value from that, make sure to join the creative financing with Facebook, with Pace Facebook group. Invite your friends that are local, real estate investors. If you're getting any value,
what I like more than anything else is when people take a screenshot of Sunday service, and then they throw it on the Instagram stories or on their Instagram and tag you and I. It just lets me know that we're reaching our audience, we're providing value. So guys, feedback in. We love spending time with you guys on these Sunday services. It's something Cody and I have been doing for a year and a half. Unfortunately, because of how many businesses Cody and I have oh my gosh, even today, I'm down in Carlsbad negotiating on our percentage of a nationwide title company Cody and I are coming in part of. So any deals you guys need help with nationwide, we're going to be able to help you guys out with that. And next week, we'll probably announce that and give you guys contact information, let you guys know how to get help at the title company. Our title company will give you help with free leads and all that kind of stuff. So that was today. And we just get so slammed, so busy that Sunday service, unfortunately, because it's a free service, it's one of those things that kind of falls by the wayside, even though it's one of the things we love to do the most. So if you guys are getting value and you want us to keep doing Sunday service, do me a favor, take a screenshot, take a photo with your camera, and throw this on Instagram stories and then tag Cody and I. I would appreciate it. I love seeing that kind of stuff so much. Screenshot Sunday service. That's yes, 100%. What I want to do is I want to answer a couple more questions before we take off. One of them was April Giuliano. By the way, check this out. April Giuliano. She started wholesaling about 4 months ago. She got her first SubTo deal shortly after she joined the mentorship. She's also got a couple other deals under contract very quickly. I won't tell her whole story, but she was the first guest on the 25-hour live I did 2 weeks ago. An amazing, amazing human, but she's in the mentorship. So April, what I want you to do is go into the SubTo private Facebook group. And if you type in probate in the search bar, you're going to see multiple videos that Rylas Dana, our probate attorney, and myself have done talking specifically about how to get probate deals and how to like absolutely crush probate marketing. A lot of people, like when you watch how I do marketing for probate, you will be like, oh my gosh, none of this is on YouTube. None of this is told anywhere else. It is absolutely game changing. And then we've done a bunch of bonus Zoom calls in the private mentorship all about probate and how to market to probate attorneys and all that kind of stuff. Rylas Dina was a guest host on one of those bonus Zooms. So definitely go check that out. Did you ever close with the 50-year new dad? I don't know what that is. But I'll leave that there for a second. Alex wants Cody to talk about setting up Podio. Maybe that's something we can talk about at a future date, maybe in the next, maybe not next Sunday where we do the live in-person streaming, but maybe we can talk about it in 3 or 4 weeks where Cody can kind of show some secrets on Podio and help. If you guys want us to make one of our topics about Podio flow and how to manage Podio and your leads and all that kind of stuff, throw a yes in the comments or go on Instagram stories and take a photo of this, tag Cody, tag myself, and like hashtag Podio and let us know if you guys want that. Pace, did you buy your Airstream subject to? Alec, you know what? I had the opportunity to buy multiple mobile homes or not manufactured homes, but RVs subject to and seller finance. A lot of sellers were willing to do it, but I elected to buy a brand new Airstream since we were going to be driving around the country in it for a year. We wanted exactly what we wanted, so we ended up buying a brand new one. Let's see. Facebook user, I don't know your name, unfortunately. Would you ever sell the bonus videos of the probate discussions? Why wouldn't you just join the mentorship? Like the probate is going to give you one piece of the pie. Or you can learn from one of my students. Ask one of my students the stuff about the probate stuff, and we'd be happy to tell you. Let's see.
Matt's gonna hate me for this, but I just shared his.
Oh my gosh, love it. Okay,
Hit
cool.
Matt up if you need a Podio setup. It's not something that me and Pace don't have anything. Our setup has been so built out over the last couple of years that it's really, you don't need everything that we have in ours. But Matt Beard has done a really good job at setting something up for a lot of new investors. Like the Podio that Matt has is really good for investors that are doing anywhere from 0 to 5 deals a month. It has some basic custom integration set up within it. And really, it just allows you to have a really good system in place of following up with your leads that you're generating. So only text him if you actually want to get it set up, please, because then otherwise he's going to text me and like, bro, don't share my number with people like this anymore. So.
A couple things. So Sergio has asked this question a couple of times. Sergio is a very avid watcher for the last couple of weeks, and he has a lot of really good questions. The answer to this question is not what you want to hear, Sergio. What to do if a seller doesn't want less than $70,000 payment on a free and clear house, 170 air, blah, 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 blah. I already know the answer. The answer is get better at negotiating seller finance and subject to deals. I would squat up with one of my students. This is all I teach them, is how to negotiate with sellers. I don't know anybody better than being on the phones than me. And I record all my seller calls with my students. Every Monday, I do calls for my students and their sellers, and I negotiate stuff like this all the time. So I would ask my students, I got a whole bunch of students in this that are watching right now. Who wants to talk to Sergio? To talk to Sergio and help him out. I know Deanna, she's amazing. I love her. Deanna's amazing. I got a whole bunch of people in here in the mentorship that can help you out, Sergio. I know you've been watching Ron LeGrand on YouTube, but he ain't doing nothing for negotiating. I do like him. He's amazing. William Campbell, how much is a mentorship? The first question you should ask is it sold out in my area? Because it's sold out in a lot of areas. If you guys, Sergio, if you guys are in a certain area and you want to know, what I would do is I would go to subto.com/apply to see if it's even sold out in your guys' area, because it's not available in every area. This is why I don't talk about it a lot, is because it's being sold out all over the place. Okay. All right. Adrian, there was a seller conversation that you had for a free under file section in the Facebook group. It's such a good call. I think the seller had even brought up suicide because of how much pain there was. Awesome. Yeah, I might have removed that call because somebody was stealing my phone calls and selling them in another Facebook group. Let's see. Mark Giuliano. If you're in the mentorship, I will be live in my room to help some others. Join after the Sunday. So Oscar's in our mentorship, an amazing human being. Every night he does like a private little group.
So many people.
He does a private group inside of our private group, and super helpful. Alex, when are you in Denver? I will be in Denver in end of August. End of August, I will be in September. Let's see. Okay, so let's do this before we wrap up. Is Monday is Wholesale Hotline.
Yep.
Tuesday, what do we got?
Jeff is underwriting deals.
So who's Jeff? What's his job in our company?
Jeff Dwyer is our disposition guy and asset manager on our team.
Awesome. So Jeff Dwyer, the guy who does all of our disposition for Orlando and for Arizona, Jeff Dwyer is going to be running a Facebook Live on Tuesday of how we underwrite deals and talking about dispo secrets, or what's he going to be talking about?
Yeah, dispo secrets. I mean, he's going to be answering questions about how he builds our cash buyers list if people have questions about that. But otherwise, he's going to be, really underwriting people's deals and helping people understand how to underwrite their deals.
I like how Facebook user doesn't even use his real name, but he's saying, oh, these dudes pushing batch leads like crazy. Bro, we push the companies that get us deals. So what do you want? What do you want us to do? Do you want us to not talk about what actually works? Like, there's always a criticizer. There's always somebody criticizing and talking and talking and talking. Yo, when you do a free live and you're helping as many people as we're trying to help, then you can criticize. Okay? Do yourself a favor and don't watch this if you got a problem with it. Crystal, you're amazing. Appreciate you. Ark Alex, am I coming to Missouri? Yes, I am. I won't be coming to Missouri until the fourth quarter of this year, unfortunately, but I will be coming through Missouri. I love how Oscar's doing these lives like that late at night. Okay, so Amanda, if the commitment is to be $20,000 cash flow per month by end of year, is Matt's Podio sufficient? That's if I said yes and then you didn't take action and at the end of the year you weren't at $20,000 a month cash flow, I hope you wouldn't blame his Podio. If everything in your world is set up the right way it should be, his Podio will absolutely get there. Yes. Let's see. What is your most effective way to find Kyle Scott? Can I be honest with you? For a newbie, is it better to focus on wholesale or sub-2? It is interesting to me that people delineate the two, that they separate the two. It's interesting to see that that's the way the mindset is. Guys, we don't market for wholesale and we don't market for sub-2. We market to distressed and motivated sellers, and whatever category and bucket they fall into, that's how we convert them. So if you're only a wholesaler, you are missing out on twice the amount of conversions. I promise you that. Stop thinking of yourself as a wholesale guy or a creative finance person. Yes, we do a ton of creative finance. Yes, we do a ton of sub-2. There's not many people in the nation that know more about it than we do. I've traveled the country. I've talked to a lot of people. But at the end of the day, we don't market to wholesale contracts. We don't market to creative finance and sub-2. We market to distressed property owners, and we utilize all the tools in our bag to convert those contracts. That is the answer. So learn everything. Be a real estate investor, not just a wholesaler. When will we be in the East Coast Atlanta area? We love Atlanta. It's like one of my favorite places I've ever been. Jamil and I will go out there probably 3-4 times a year. I'm going to try and get my wife out there this year, the fourth quarter of this year. We're going to take the Airstream, and I'm hoping to get Cody and Hayal to come out and hang out as well.
I'll fly out there.
Yeah. Boston. Yes, I will be coming to Boston. Are you aiming for wholesale first or SubTo? You can tell, when it's a wholesale opportunity, when it's a SubTo opportunity, like almost on the first phone call. We're not aiming for anything. We're just simply aiming for motivated and distressed sellers. That's it. Look, guys, if you want to make $2, $3, $4 million a year, you cannot do it being a wholesaler. You can't. I don't know a single wholesaler making that kind of money. I don't know a single wholesaler making taking home $1 million a year.
Yeah, grossing, a lot of grossing, but not net.
They're not netting $1 million a year. Where you really make millions of dollars in this business is marketing for distressed property owners and wholesaling some of those, fixing, flipping some of those, and acquiring and taking those down for subject to or creative finance, and sometimes assigning those creative finance and subject to contracts. That is a well-rounded investor. You need to be utilizing all of those strategies and all of those categories. Yes, Daniel has got it right. You market for motivated sellers, and the exit strategy is best fit their pain and motivation. Daniel is 100% right. What is your most used exit strategy on SubTo deals? In 2019, it was primarily lease options. In the first part of 2020, we were doing a lot of SubTo to retail, so subtail. And currently, we're in the middle of a bunch of wraps. Even though wrap is not my favorite disposition strategy, I prefer lease options at the end of the day. And I went through this for like an hour in the SubTo mentorship this morning. We had a secret Sunday service Zoom call this morning. I talked all about why I like Zoom more than I like wraps. Hey, Agatha Jones, thank you so much. So much. Amanda, what I would suggest, just so you know, what I would suggest is having a conversation with Matt. He's one of the most lovely human beings I know. There's about 4 people, 5 people maybe in my life that have a similar work ethic to me. I mean, here we are Sunday. I worked all day today, all day. My wife and I hung out for like 4 hours in the morning. I did like private Zoom calls with my students on a Sunday morning. I then hung out with my wife and daughter for like 3 hours. And then the rest of the day, all the way until right now, 7 o'clock at night, I've been working. Cody and I have been on the phone multiple times. I've been negotiating our ownership in a title company. Work. That is the only answer to being successful, making millions and millions of dollars, is constantly working, improving, and building systems and all that kind of stuff. Matthew Beard, among Cody Barton and a couple of other people, Matthew Beard is one of the only people I would say have a similar work ethic to me. I would suggest getting on a phone call with him and having a good conversation about his Podio setup, and he will be honest, true, and completely tell you the truth. Okay? Do you think I made somebody mad by telling them stop watching us today?
Maybe. I mean, you're always going to make some people mad. Not everyone. Like the more and more the audience grows, the more there's going to be some angry people.
Cool. So guys, we're going to wrap up right now. We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. Next week, we're going to be in Los Angeles. It's going to be Cody, Jamil, and myself. We're going to have 3 hosts, and we're going to stream live all about comping properties, dispoing properties. This will be next week's Sunday service. The following Sunday service, we'll go back to our regularly scheduled programming, and I would suggest Cody talking about more systems. It seems like we had a lot of systems questions in here. Guys, give me a yes if you want the Sunday service in 2 weeks to be all about systems, and if that would be helpful for you guys. If so, I want you guys to bring really, really good questions for Cody. Give me a yes if that's what you want the topic to be in the next week. Cody, what do you got to have to say today? What's your final word?
final words. If you're not already in the Creative Financing with Pace Morby Facebook group, join it. We have those live. We have 5 live calls a week starting this upcoming week. 5 free lives a week. So if that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what else will. So that's my closing thoughts.
All right, guys, we appreciate you guys so much. We will see you Tuesday morning. Jeff Dwyer, our dispo guy, will be going live all about underwriting and dispoing deals. So if you guys have questions about underwriting and dispoing deals, that'll be Tuesday. Wednesday is you, right, Cody?
Yep, systems. Wednesday is systems and marketing with me.
Thursday is going to be Deal or No Deal with me. Friday is going to be all about VAs, managing VAs, hiring VAs, onboarding VAs, what kind of KPIs to follow with VAs, how to pay VAs, how to incentivize them if they get a deal with VAs. It's all about VAs. Fridays with VAs with Matt Beard. And then Sunday service next Sunday, me, Cody, and Jamil Damji. Guys, have a good night.